All right, so whenever I'm on set on a Saturday morning coming to the studio, there's this spot I normally pass through. You'll see a whole lot of people, exercising in the morning. And this morning on my way to the studio, the place appears to be very scanty, and I came to just that single conclusion that a lot of them must have traveled. Yes, and I know as we speak right now, some people are getting ready to, get going to their various destinations. You will agree with me that during this period, or rather this period happens to be the peak, that you have a massive movement of people from one destination to the other. And as we engage or embark on a different, journeys, we should remember that COVID-19 is on the rise, because we have, the number of cases just keeps rising almost every day. Some European countries have taken, measures by closing down or restricting movement already, and we don't want to see that in Nigeria. We know the effect it had on us the last time we attempted that, but let's not hope that we will get to that point again. Welcome to the studios of Weekend Deal, Africa's biggest deal. It's always a pleasure to have you join us on the show. Yes, we are going to be looking at COVID-19 and festive season. There are new issues that is like really coming up, and we are going to interrogate them, most especially when we have our guests to join us in the studio. All right, thank you for staying with us. And like we did inform earlier, today we are going to dwell on COVID-19 and the festive season. Of course, we have new cases, rising cases of COVID-19 infection in the country. And this is a time to, be responsible, to take full responsibility on of our health, the way we interact with people, ensuring that we, follow religiously those pharmaceutical injunctions, talking about hand sanitizing our hands, using our face masks, maintaining social distance and all of that. But let us take this background report put together by Francis Ogie, and after that, we'll delve into other things as they relate to COVID-19, resurgence in the country.
Christmas is fast approaching. Residents are beginning to prepare to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. The festive season typically involves mass gathering and fun times with family and friends. However, we shouldn't forget too easily how COVID-19 started in Nigeria. The first confirmed case in Nigeria was announced on 27 February 2020, when an Italian in Lagos tested positive to the virus. On the 8th of July 2021, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control detected and confirmed a case with the Delta variant. It was detected in a traveler to Nigeria following the routine travel test required of all international travelers. Today, it is the Omicron variant of COVID-19. Therefore, the need for a cautious approach during the festive season.
Viruses by nature are known to mutate in the process of their development and division. So they multiply a lot, and in the process they have some mutations. And one of the mutants of interest and concern is the Omicron. We've had other mutants in the past. You will recall there was Delta, we had Alpha, we had Beta, and now we have Omicron. Omicron was detected not too long has spread across the world. It's a variant of major concern because it has many mutants, many areas where it has mutated.
The recent discovery of the Omicron variant of COVID-19 has exerted greater tension and caused global panic with travel bans and restrictions between nations. This could even lead to several bilateral disagreements if not properly managed.
That issue of a ban is more political than any other thing. Those countries that are banning Nigeria, some of them have more cases of the Omicron than we do. And we know countries like to take measures to protect their people, but there are other ways to protect your people than banning people from traveling from one place to the other. You can check them as they come in and detect the virus. We have very effective ways of detecting the virus, and you can institute isolation or quarantine measures so that you contain the infection.
The new and more potential danger of the Omicron variant of COVID-19 has reawakened the need for the reintroduction of safety measures that were relaxed in the past. But more policies safeguarding public health need to be advanced to ensure the Christmas celebration does not lead to rising public health.
If you go out to town, you see very few people wearing their face mask correctly. You also see very few people observing those basic preventive measures, physical distancing, social distancing, avoiding crowded places, washing of hands, and using of sanitizers. So now you go into the market, or you go to the shopping mall, or you go to the worship houses, you discover that people are milling around and not observing those measures. So it portends great danger for us. And actually, this time of the year, where we have the Hamatan season coming in, as well as we have the festive season, everybody is in festive mood, traveling from one place to the other, meeting friends and relations. This is the period where we have seen increasing number of cases in the past.
Several measures have been taken by the federal government of Nigeria through the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, now Presidential Steering Committee. These include an initial lockdown of non-essential activities, closure of schools, a ban on international flights. Other measures include Phase 4 of the eased lockdown and the expansion of laboratories for the testing of COVID-19.
By the time we were taking 1-2 doses, we didn't have all these variants, okay? But the virus is also moving ahead, trying to mutate to survive. So because of that, we need to also increase our own immune response. And what the good thing about boosters is that when you take a vaccine, the first shot gives you some level of immunity. The second gives you more immunity, all right? So once the immune system is primed, once you take an additional dose, the immune response becomes even much more greater. The boosters are very helpful, they are scientific, and they have been known to help in many other climes. So it is very important that our people understand the importance of a booster dose and go for it.
The fight against coronavirus is not yet over. Therefore, our focus on Weekend Deal today will be on COVID-19 and the festive season.
Well, that fight is definitely not over, not just in Nigeria, but globally, because, some European countries are actually taking those extra measures, or rather those, measures taken at the onset of COVID-19 to ensuring that they contain the virus, restriction in terms of movement, closing down of some, public places. It's already happening, but we don't want to see that happen in Nigeria due to the huge economic impact it will have on us. And yes, we have different variants of COVID-19, and the new kid on the block that is, making everybody to talk. Some people are already pressing the panic button is the Omicron. So let's find out more about the Omicron variant. This one is coming from NTA Programme.
Yuletide season from time immemorial has been one which everyone looks forward to with great expectations, as the season is always full of so much excitement. The period is very significant as it symbolizes the commemoration of the birth of Jesus Christ and also because it signals the end of the year. Hence, Yuletide season is usually observed with much fun and pageantry. However, with the advent of coronavirus pandemic all over the world, especially the new variant called Omicron has put restriction on the movements of people from one place to another and limit the much acclaimed merriment synonymous with the festivity. The need for people to celebrate with caution hence becomes imperative as coronavirus has sent millions of people to their early graves. And with the production of vaccines to combat coronavirus, an expert virologist shed more light.
What is the benefit of having the vaccine? Firstly, whoever gets vaccinated has a less risk of developing the severe form of COVID-19 that will require hospitalization, that could make the person to be oxygen dependent. So it's good to know that once you are vaccinated, the chances of getting the severe form of the disease is reduced.
With the Christmas and New Year celebrations around the corner, will the COVID-19 virus stop the celebration?
The advent of coronavirus had brought a kind of pandemic into the entire world. But this is not peculiar to this time alone. It has happened in the past, where there are a pandemic that's happened to nations. But this does not stop mankind from worshiping God Almighty. End of the year will soon come. People are bound to pray to God to see what's going to happen, a new policy, a new year, begging God here and there. So people are bound to travel to their homes, to their villages, and so on and so forth.
As the festivities entails mass gathering, movement of people from one place to another to celebrate and felicitate with families, friends, and loved ones. What should the people do to avoid contracting the virus?
I would just love to advise them that they should be cautious and take COVID-19 precautions because of the new variant, the Omicron variant.
Observers opined that if people pay proper attention to the laid down non-pharmaceutical protocols of washing of hands, wearing of nose masks, and observing social distance, among others, during the Yuletide season will go a long way in reducing the rate of contracting the virus, casualty rates, and increase the overall general well-being of people in our society and Nigeria at large.
Trust me, this is a battle that we will have to fight together because if you take responsibility for your health, I take responsibility for my health. As trust me, it will go a long way in ensuring that we contain this virus. We, stop the spread of COVID-19. It doesn't matter whether it's Omicron or whatever variant it is. But paying attention to those non-pharmaceutical injections, you heard from that report there. You talk about the face mask, washing of hands, or sanitizing your hands, maintaining social distance. These things will go a long way. And if it is not necessary, you really don't need to go out to public spaces because these are potential places that can easily spread this virus. You talk about concert, which of course we've seen many of them being hosted in different parts of the country. Even in Abuja, I know there will be some today, tomorrow, up, to as a build up to the Christmas proper. So we can do a whole lot to ensuring that we contain this virus in the country. And yes, the beginning, at the onset of COVID-19, I know it was new in Nigeria. A lot of people did not know, and not just in Nigeria, the world over. So there were a whole lot of conspiracy theory, myth, surrounding COVID-19. And yes, despite the fact that it's been like 2 years, a lot of information, a lot of, real life experiences with this virus, some people are still, developing theories around COVID-19. And you wonder, of course, Dayola is taking a look at the COVID-19 myth in this next report.
COVID-19 has put the whole world at the edge of a hill, so steep that must be climbed. The sad truth about this present time is that this health calamity is being accompanied by an inundation of misinformation and a tide of conspiracy theories. There is rumor that an infected person who got treated for coronavirus is automatically immune from contacting COVID.
The only way for us to really achieve enough immunity or herd immunity is to take this vaccine appropriately and timely, and even go to the level of getting the booster dose. For now, it doesn't confer on its own. The exposure to the disease, it doesn't confer immunity or protective mechanism for the person.
Unfortunate myths that this disease is a hoax or that Nigerians have strong immunity against the virus has a very damaging and negative consequences to the prevention, containment, mitigation, and treatment of COVID-19.
Is to, trigger more protective mechanism, the immunity, to help fight not just the conventional infection of the corona now, but to make the body much stronger to prevent either coming down with the disease or mild form of the disease.
The misinformation has always resulted in surge in the virus transmission with the attendant increase in morbidity and mortality.
I believe I'm not a scientist. However, from evidence gathered from data, for example, in countries like UK, France, where I've stayed over the years, I believe there is COVID-19 here.
As we speak, the number of the cases now are increasing in Nigeria, in FCT for the coronavirus. So, but the admission rate, the death rate is very low. And that is why many people in this part of the world, they look at what is happening in other parts of the globe, notably Italy, India, and so on, where they see massive death. There are other confounding factors from country to country, from region to region. And God is on our side here, so to say, that we don't see such high mortality. And that is the misconception. People tend to say, well, this thing is not true, or this thing is not as deadly.
Thus, globally and in Nigeria, COVID-19 myth puts lives at risk.
All right, we're just having a chit chat with my guests. Of course, let me introduce him to you. He's Professor Abdusalam Nasidi, a virologist and a pioneer DG of NCDC. You're welcome to our studios.
Thank you very much.
Actually, my director is saying that you should kindly take up your cap, your face cap. Exactly, fine. Yes, so that we can see and appreciate you fully. Thank you for joining us here. And from that report, 2 years dealing with COVID-19, and people are still, dwelling or swimming in the pool of misinformation. Let's start our conversation from there.
Well, this is what usually happens even in the past, in the history of pandemics. Some of the viruses, infections caused by these viruses, they start slowly, without hitting the public in such a manner that people will say, like meningitis and others, where it is so obvious that the number of people that are hit by the bacteria is high, and this immediately, just like what they call, houses called maza, comes hot. But this one comes slowly, but surely. And when it comes, people will ignore it, or it's just a common cold, is this and that. To the extent that it's not only the ordinary people that doubt the potential of that type of outbreak to grow into a pandemic. If you remember, some leaders of some countries denied it and said, oh, don't worry, it's a common cold, it will soon come and pass. So it's not the ordinary people. Then, all of a sudden, you can get the virus will be mutating, will be changing,
Yeah.
then it will gain potential. It becomes stronger and stronger because it adapts to human cell. So the more it jumps from one person to the other and so on, so it can be changing, and then it can gain more potency, power, to cause trouble. And so when it now gains potency and it starts, causing high morbidity and killing people, then there will be panic. So amidst panic, you will now have different group of people. It's just like you go to a place, you want to convert people to any religion, Christianity, Islam, and this. So you get those who will easily convert, you get those who resist, and you get those who still remain on borderline. So this is how the conspiracy theories start. We are not sure if the treatments we are using to treat the former variants, disease caused by former variants, will work, with Omicron. And but the beautiful news is that even if it infects those who had been vaccinated before, it doesn't give them severe type of the disease.
Okay.
And the chance that it will kill them is lower. So vaccination is still very important.
Okay, yeah, talking about that vaccination, because just now, and that is a concern of many Nigerians, and not maybe for people who are really skeptical about taking the vaccine, is the fact that you say the vaccine will actually protect you from the virus, and some people who have actually taken the vaccine, double jab, and even have the booster are still coming down with the virus, and then they are beginning to question the veracity of that, process, to say that even if I've taken the vaccine, I'm actually not protected. Talk to me to just let me have a sense of this, and ensuring that yes, it's also still very important that you take the vaccine.
Yeah, the fact remains that, the vaccine doesn't give 100% protection, maybe 97, 98, 95%, which is good. So some people who get the vaccine might not be fully protected, but if you have 95 to 99% protected, that's very, very good indeed. Now, when you take the vaccine, your body will react to the vaccine virus, and then it will start building protection. That's antibody level. So if you take it, after about 2-3 months, the level that you have that will protect you will be going down. That's why you need the second dose to boost it up. So if you do that, then if you are lucky, that's second dose, what they call fully vaccinated before, can protect you against the former variants. Now here is a new variant that has come with different code. So your antibody protection level might not be able to stop it. You understand? But the good news, that's what I kept saying, and it's very important that people should not joke that vaccination is the lifesaver. That those, for instance, now in South Africa, almost 75% of those who are infected are sick now with COVID that are caused by Omicron are those that are not vaccinated. So if you're not vaccinated, the chance
easily exposed to the virus.
Then if you're not vaccinated, the chance that it could lead to severe case and kill you is very high also. So you don't joke. So now the last point is, which one is better? Should we wait this and they say, okay, the Omicron is not as severe as the previous ones. It's not as deadly, but it can infect. For instance, if Delta can infect 100 million people and kill, let's say, 100,000, okay? But this one, within a period, let's say within a month, this one now, people are saying can infect 1 billion people within 1 month and kill 200 million. So it's not as deadly as Delta, but it can kill more people.
Now, before we take our next report, really, at the onset of this COVID-19, we know the kind of media information that a lot of us, had access to. Nigerians follow the trail of the news around COVID-19, and the impression then, a lot of people thought that in Africa, people will be dying on the street, also given the nature of our poor healthcare sector and all of that. But that never happened. And some people are really saying that, yes, in Africa, perhaps we are already resistant to the virus because we take agbo, we take a whole lot of things like that. Talk to me about that.
Well, I can say so far we are lucky. And it's very possible. All the reasons you gave could be possible. Because we are exposed to so many viruses. When an African child is born and that child survives 5 years, he must have come into contact with pathogens, viruses, bacteria, more than the Oyinbo that is 50 years old. Because we are born, you see how our environment is. And so then secondly, our weather too could play a role because of maybe very hot, high ultraviolet and all this. We are lucky, but we shouldn't, say it is over. Because up to tomorrow, that speculation that somebody came and said, oh, Africans could be dying and Africa. But Africans did not die the way they thought it will happen. It's other countries that it happened. People were dropping that, I think, is it Peru or Guatemala and India and all this. People they couldn't believe it. It came, that prediction happened.
Was really
real.
Devastating.
So now we are afraid that with our weak health system, I hope we shall not get a variant that can really do that job.
Yeah.
And we don't know, so that's why the African governments have now woken up now and investing in health and public health and now encouraging local capabilities to manufacture the drugs that we need, to manufacture the vaccines that we need to manufacture. Because our health system is weak, we don't have any industry backing the system is poorly funded, and morale of so many things.
Well, we'll talk more about, local vaccine and all of that after we must have taken this next report, which is coming from NTA TV, and it borders on the non-pharmaceutical injunctions. Are we still obeying them? Are we still, observing these, protocols? Let's see this next report.
With the COVID-19 pandemic, especially the newest variant, Omicron, still very much in town, it is advised that we don't throw caution to the winds. How well do people observe the non-pharmaceutical protocols this season?
By not traveling or going to neighbors, then minimize the number of people we have. Then to put all the precautions of COVID in our environment by washing hands and all stuff.
It's very important because we in Nigeria here, we don't really care for our health. So by washing hands, everything, it's okay.
It's not yet clear whether Omicron is more transmissible compared to the other variants. It's also not clear whether it causes more severe diseases compared to infections with other variants. There is no current evidence or information to suggest that the symptoms associated with this variant is different from others. However, it's important to note that it's a variant of COVID-19 and it can cause severe diseases and death, and prevention is the key.
This nose mask is very important for we in Nigeria here because of dust all the time. It's very, very important. Apart of corona,
I'm protected by using the nose mask. That's what I can actually say.
As Omicron continues to pose significant public health threats, a medical practitioner gives tips on how families and friends can celebrate this season.
These safety preventive measures offer protections not just to us but to those around us. It helps to provide us with full protections from particles which are expelled by others, or protect others from particles which we expel either during sneezing or coughing. Talking about physical distance, this helps to prevent these droplets from sneezing or coughing from getting in close contact with us. Now, if you're distant from someone who sneezes or coughs, if you can give at least 1 meter distance, the chance that this particle or products that this person sneezes out will get to you is lower as compared to when you're so close to the person. It's important that we try as much as possible to get vaccinated.
It is therefore important for everyone to observe these protocols as rolled out by the government. A Stitch in Time says 9.
Parents are traveling with their words. what can we do differently to ensuring that we protect children at that, level of infection? And also, is it Omicron that is really, affecting the children?
Now, what is happening is that rate at which children younger than 10, between 6 to 10, as you said, are coming down with the symptoms is very worrying. And this is why, it means age group, school age students are now at risk. So many countries have actually, like in the US now, all universities, even exam, they say it must be done virtual and all this, because the rate at which this Omicron is affecting young generation, young people, is alarming. It's very worrying. So then, the next point, especially between the parents and the children, this is not the time to go for self-medication. This is dangerous. They say, oh, the child is running temperature, it's malaria, we're going to give him malaria.
Yeah, and we do that a lot in Nigeria.
So within short period, you could get complication and you lose your loved one. So I advise that within this period of Omicron spreading worldwide and causing trouble, doubling like every week in numbers, that parents should not take chances at all. If there are any symptoms in their children, they should try and see a medical worker, even if it's a nurse, but they should not take chances. Oh, this is malaria, I give him this something, and all that agbo you are talking, this is not the time. Then second is the fact that what do we need to do to prevent the children from contacting the virus, since it's spreading very quick. The good news is it doesn't spread easily to them, but when it does, it can cause a lot of something. So we should now start thinking, the children cannot use masks easily, but do we now start, getting the children to use masks? Many countries now, they say all children going to school must use masks. This hand sanitizing is more now emphasized. Social distancing is emphasized. But how can you do social distance between mother and her child, and so on and so forth, or in the house? So that is where the prevention of not the infection but the complications becomes so important, especially in the children. Luckily, the children are stronger too. They resist the virus better than the adults, which is good news. And so that means the adults in the house must observe this, and I mean, not in the house, anywhere.
I want to be a child again.
Yeah, and then, do everything possible to minimize, the transmission of, this virus to their children. For instance, in some countries, even the playgrounds and all this, some of them are closed for now. Children will come back from holidays, they want to mix, they want to start visiting each other. All those are limited now.
Prof, would you suggest similar approach for Nigeria, most especially in this Yuletide season?
Nigeria is not different from other nations, and we're all humans. And if it starts consolidating, we're not seeing it much yet among the children, but it's spreading, and I'm sure you are my witness, and many, that we're seeing rise in people coming down with flu-like symptoms and temperature, or this, oh, I'm sick, I'm that. And we're also seeing rise in number of deaths. So the fourth wave could come with vengeance.
I know that at some point I read it's like Nigeria was planning to destroy about 1 million vaccines that have expired. And I know that if today Nigerians begin to change their mindset about the vaccine, we're not going to have enough to vaccinate people. And then the local options, people have been advocating for local options. But when do you think it's realistic for us to have our local option in terms of vaccine?
You can see, I can tell you that, it's not just to have the vaccine that matters, but it's to get the people to agree to get the vaccine into their arms that matters. So you see, both sides. If you have a scissors, you have the only side. You can't cut anything. You need the both half, the second half, to actually cut anything, the cloth, the paper, etc. So that's exactly what is happening. One, access to vaccine. You know, we don't have, this pandemic has shown that Africa is virtually naked, if I can say that. We are orphans. The pandemic came, people are dying, a vaccine was discovered, it's working. Every country has access to the vaccine, at least even if not 50%, they have 80% access. African countries have less than 5-10% access to the vaccine. Even if you have your money you want to buy, it's not, those manufacturers are not selling to you. You understand what I'm trying to say? Because they say, no, we are manufacturing, but our government will not, the US government did not allow US manufacturers to export the vaccine until every American is immunized. And at the beginning of this pandemic, that's what I mentioned in this NTA, that look, we should be careful. We have to really, start positioning ourselves. Then, the other aspect is logistics. You have the vaccine, you have mobilized people, but you don't have enough syringe, you don't have enough, even the cotton and all this into. So these are the few things. Then the last but most important point is, again, part of what should make us start thinking that we have to manufacture our own vaccine. That is the fact that since we didn't have the vaccine, we couldn't buy. So, and we're not manufacturing, we are now reliant only on
donation.
So the donors will bring you the vaccine that is not having a very long lifespan. You understand me? So if that is the case, they bring you a vaccine that is expiring in 2 months or 3 months, and you need the vaccine anyway. So if they bring the vaccine and you can utilize it before that 3 months, the vaccine expires.
Right now, let's go on to NTA Abuja to look at the COVID-19 and the festive season, and after that we'll engage the Prof on the use of herbal medicine. So let's take this next report.
The recent resurgence of the Delta variant of COVID-19 in Nigeria poses another great challenge in the health sector. It is rather worrisome to note that when the government the world over is having a relief over the containment of the dreaded COVID-19, especially with the availability of COVID-19 vaccine of different types, then broke the news about the third wave called the Delta variant. Worthy of note is the fact that many Nigerians are still living in denial and losing the guards on the dangers of COVID infection. In Ogun State, for instance, efforts to get accurate information from government proved abortive. Meanwhile, feelers around the town reveal that some people, though are aware of the existence of the Delta variant of the COVID-19, they are no longer adhering to the safety protocols. Worse still, many believe and act as if the COVID issue is just a myth, going about business as usual.
They only tell us in mouth to observe it, but most of them are not observing. So as a matter of fact, we look up onto them, we see them. So as you can see around, a lot of people doesn't, including myself. Not all the time that I touch my hand, not all the time. But especially that fake mask, it doesn't master me. It's like a problem to me. And when I wear it, I didn't feel comfortable.
You have to be very careful, use your, just that I just have to remove my mask now to talk to you. So, distancing and all those. But at the same time, someone needs to be careful, Even this exchange of money and everything, those people can contact through that means. But the use of sanitizer is very good, and being hygienic in anything you do, that will really help. But I think the awareness should be done more. People are always relaxing, and people's immunity also vary. Somebody can even have it and it won't show, and the person can find a way of transmitting it to another person, and that person will now be showing those symptoms. But to be on a safer side, we just need to observe all those things necessary: wash our hands, use sanitizer, then we use the nose mask.
As the third wave of the pandemic, talking COVID-19 Delta variant, is still on, it is important that residents should adhere strictly to the safety rules given by the government so as to halt the spread of the dreaded COVID-19.
Well, that's an interesting one. Maybe we may have to get to that point whereby you have to carry your vaccine card around to just to show that, yes, I'm fully vaccinated. But, Prof, why some people have alleged that once they get to the airport, if they want to travel out, they will be required to do another test. Meanwhile, it doesn't matter if they they bring forth their negative result and all of that, and then they really don't recognize the government, hospitals.
No, actually, I will say that the Nigerian government, a process led by the NCDC, and the Presidential Steering Committee, charted a way how travelers will be handled. When you are going 48 hours or 24 hours before you move, you must be tested, and if you are negative, your result will be seen. You have the QR codes, so it's easy to detect whether you are fake or not fake. So those are the ports, airports, and other ports. They can easily detect whether you are having a fake this, or you are, and so on and so forth. So then the next is when you are coming back. They will ask you when you come, you report, you self-isolate for this, and then go for testing. And you pay before that test is done. And unfortunate thing happening is that, you pay to the government. And we are now hearing many states collect that money and don't actually send the people to the lab or get them to be tested. So the money that you pay should go actually to the laboratory that is doing the test. But they changed it. They say, okay, you pay to the state or to the government, and then you go to the laboratory. Lagos is the gold standard. They are doing everything correct. Everything. So you come, you pay that money. When you land, they will track you until you go to the lab and you bring the results.
Because some people are saying perhaps this is just a revenue generating, venture, because they don't really care whether you do the test or not. The most important thing, you have paid the money.
No, that is what we are trying to stop, and I'm sure the PSC is on top of this. That should stop. If you arrive and you love yourself and your family, you travel and you come back, particularly now with this Omicron, and you pay that money to be tested, you pay to the government. After you self-isolate, if they don't even come or they ask you for testing, go to those designated laboratories and show them evidence that you must have chosen a lab anyway, go and get tested. It is when you go to the lab and they're testing that the government will remit the money, they will pay the laboratory. But many states are not doing it.
Okay, Prof, there's another aspect when it comes to vaccines, because these days there is an... okay, now, all right, there are people who will present their green card to say they are fully vaccinated. But some people are saying that it's actually gotten via corrupt means, in the sense that they pay money and get these cards, and in the real sense, they are not vaccinated. How can we, manage situations like that?
In countries that really value life and want to, safeguard their own people, this should be regarded as a criminal act number one. And punitive measures are carried, against those who are doing that. Those who issue the cards, if they catch you in serious countries or countries that will not allow this to happen, you know where you are going to, so they don't even try it. If they caught some people living in US not long ago, you know what they are going to go through. Then, those who also go for that, you want to travel, you don't want to be vaccinated, you don't want to be tested, you get fake results, you go to those countries, if they detect you, you are in trouble.
We know that we have local solutions in terms of treating, COVID cases in the country, and some people are saying that maybe it's high time we begin to develop this so that it will be universally accepted.
What is
the traditional, options?
Traditional medicine.
Traditional medicine, if you like, alternative medicine.
Yeah, alternative medicine. You can't ignore them. Many so-called modern medicine actually emanated from the traditional medicine. But you don't try those type of medicine during pandemics. It's an emergency period. You understand what I'm trying to say? You can't say somebody has COVID, they're giving him a agbo and all this. You want to kill him because if he goes into respiratory distress, or to finish, or to party, as Yoruba say, is finished.
As a parting word, talk to me about the travelers. What do they need to do?
We are advising all transporters, all garages, all this. Nobody should be allowed to enter a vehicle without mask. They should start having hand sanitizer. All these things should be done. And at the same time, when they come, we like to do party, we like to do this. Many of these viruses, especially the Beta and Delta that killed Nigerians, many of those who died got those infections from those parties, gathering, mass gathering and so on. So going to the church, doing, what do they call it, these pre-Christmas activities, or going to the mosque. There's what we call a day de tasahu.
Okay.
Now, even Arab countries now are going back to separation, observing, the 1 meter. Before they are already open, everybody's coming and a day de tasahu, but now, so by Christmas gift, please, Nigerians, it is not yet over. You observe all these protocols to protect yourself and protect your family. As you rightly said, don't rely only on government to protect your life.
We have 4 different vaccines in the country, right? And then can you, take maybe Pfizer, then mix it with another very quickly?
Yeah, you can. For instance, I just got my booster dose day before yesterday in Nigerian language. I took AstraZeneca, my first dose and second dose.
Okay.
My booster dose is Pfizer. It's acceptable.
Okay.
Yes, in fact, it's been recommended. So
all right.
That's it.
Well, thank you very much, Prof, for speaking to us. And, it's been a pleasure talking to you. And we've been chatting with Professor Abdulsalam Nasidi. He's a virologist and also the pioneer DG of NCDC. Right now, we go on a break. And after that, we still have a whole lot to come your way. So please stay with us. Welcome back to the studios of Weekend Deal, and if you just join us, we have been talking about COVID-19 and the festive season, and I know that the COVID-19 has actually affected the entertainment scene. As it, because up until this moment, people are still, holding their Lagos, but their concert and shows, festivals, and what have you. But in Lagos, let's just take a look at what they have packaged to see if really it has affected the entertainment scene there in Lagos.
Since the emergence of the deadly COVID-19 virus over 2 years ago globally, the entertainment with the creative industry is one of the most affected sectors. The usual end-of-the-year musical concerts and carnivals were jettisoned in most parts of the world, including Lagos, which can be best described as the hub of Nigeria's entertainment. For so many stakeholders in the entertainment industry, the decrease in the number of COVID-19 infections in Lagos in the last couple of months was a big relief until the new wave of the Omicron variant broke out. In line with this new development, the Lagos State government swiftly went into action by cancelling the proposed One Lagos Fiesta, an annual musical concert organized by the Lagos State government to curtail the spread of this new variant.
Obviously, the December period, especially Christmas, is a time of celebration. And for a lot of entertainers, comedians, musicians, artists, and, down the value chain, because in the creative sector, there's quite a lot of people along the value chain. And when you talk about a creative sector, you'll be shocked that people like carpenters who are involved in set designs, transporters, people who hire equipment, people who cook food, people who dress people up, do makeup, and all of that are affected along the value chain. So obviously, this is going to have a very great impact, and there was saying one at that, for not just the entertainment sector, but the entire creative economy.
However, despite this laudable action by government, most private concert organizers are still planning to stage mega concerts across the state during the Yuletide season. What will be the fate of Lagosians who decide to attend these concerts, and how well will the organizers adhere to COVID-19 protocols?
Unless there's a lockdown, we cannot say there won't be any, obviously. But the Lagos Fiesta obviously has the biggest impact on the state's economy. But of course, there'll be pockets of entertainment here and there. People will organize shows. That will be there.
The scenario we don't want is a whole crowd of people in an indoor closed space, maybe with air conditioning, okay? All crowded together in that space. And then you think booming music, so they are in each other's faces, trying to carry out conversations at the tops of their voices, laughing, and all the while spewing viral-laden saliva into each other's faces. So I'm going to trust the creativity of the average Nigerian to find fun things to do, like in an atmosphere like this, outdoors, well ventilated, where we can talk at a volume where I'm not spraying saliva in your face or vice versa. We're not saying don't have fun. We're just saying please be safe. You know, I've attended quite a few events in the last couple of weeks that have been outdoors, and they have been so pleasant because I felt safe. We've been able to have all the fun that we can have. I mean, what's more fun than having all your friends and family around, hearing the sound of children laughing, good food, cold drinks, and music, but not at a level that causes me to start screaming and shouting in the face of the person next to me.
Another major form of social gathering, very common in this period, is the end of the year party, usually celebrated by individuals, groups, and organizations. Though it is a popular saying that there is no dull moment in Lagos, especially during the Yuletide season. But considering the new wave of the COVID-19 virus, should these parties be hosted as usual?
Unless, of course, the government decides to work with event centers, and then there's strict monitoring.
If you're out in a crowded place, please wear a mask. You'll see that mine is never too far away from me. Wear your mask as much as possible. Keep your distance from too many people. Reduce your exposure. And that's something that we really need to think about. So you go into, don't just go to the supermarket just to browse. Go in, get what you want, get out. As much as is possible, the places where we are going to have problems, I always feel, are the bus stops and inside the downfalls and the buses. Wear a mask. Wash your hands as frequently as you can, and when you can't, use a sanitizer.
As Lagosians celebrate the end of the year season, efforts should therefore be made in taking necessary measures to safeguard the health of every citizen.
Well, trust me, there's nothing like live concerts, live theater shows and all of that because of that proximity, and it's usually electrifying. But given the circumstances of our reality now, vis-a-vis the spread of COVID-19, I think it's wise to just maybe engage your phone, look at your YouTube, different social media platforms that you can actually entertain yourself with and enjoy the company of your family. You don't really need to go out to mix with the crowd. So, still staying in Lagos, recently there was a documentary premiere which focuses on the evolution of the White Garment Church. It was actually narrated by Nollywood legend Richard Murphy-Damager. So, let's see the highlights of that premiere in this next feature.
Story lies everywhere. Olajayi found hers in a doctrine with the intention of changing people's view about the negative perception of white garment churches. Getting away from the regular friction, Olajayi chooses enlightenment, information, and education over entertainment, with a documentary project titled The White Garment Church.
I've attended the church, I'm a member of the church, and I feel like there's a lot of negative view about the church that I feel like I need to tell their story. A lot of people don't know that most of the Pentecostal church we have today, they literally came from the White Garment Church. They were once the follower of St. Moses Orimolade Tuolashe, the founder of the White Garment Church.
The documentary focuses more on the Cherubim and Seraphim Church through their spiritual head, Moses Orimolade. The crew traveled to the town of Ikare, where the White Garment Churches have their roots, interviewed families, family friends, old church members and traditional leaders to confirm the beginning and history of the churches. The documentary also gave in-depth insight on how the denomination worship and gave a biblical backing.
So I wanted to tell his story. I wanted people to know that the White Garment Church will worship Jesus Christ. We don't worship idol.
My daughter took the decision in America. And when I saw it, it's like the book, I'm a pastor, I will always go back to the Bible. It's like the book of Habakkuk, chapter number 2, coming to pass, that this is a vision, I've got to run with the vision. I'm running with Ola Jai's vision. She's on documentary, I was not thinking of that. I write, I'm a book writer, but she did this, it gladdened my heart.
I had a certain view about the White Garment Church, but then in writing, of course, you have to research. And then in researching, I got to know a whole lot more about the church, about its founder.
I've always thought the White Garment Church was a bit fetish. But you know, this was like an expose for me. I got to understand the reason why they do the things they do, the reason why they are the way they are.
I've seen it already. Oh, you're going to go see it, so enjoy it.
The documentary cast the likes of Richard Mofedamijo, who played the role of a voice-over artist, and some up-and-coming actors. Finding facts from Ikare town definitely came with these challenges.
If you want to know how challenging it was, go to my Instagram page, go to my producer's Instagram page, go to any of the crew members' Instagram page, or just go to the website, in fact, and watch the images. Let the images tell the story.
And just being a part of the entire Ikare community, that was special because that was also the community where the founder, St. Moses, was born and where the ministry started. So it was very important for me to be enveloped in all of that.
Going to post-production was not that easy also. It's a bit taxing, but I just tried to create something from the idea we had.
It was not easy, especially during the part where we need to climb the mountain. It took us 30 minutes to climb, and I was shooting. I carried Steadicam, shooting, climbing the mountain. It was hell.
The project can best be described as an end product of the beautiful teamwork of some young minds, which for sure came out beautifully. The premiere, which took place at the Ebony Lives Lagos, recently was graced by the likes of Oba of Ikare and notable names in the entertainment industry such as Richard Mofedamijo, Dele Muhammadu, among others.
This is the much we can take on the show today. Yes, we've been talking about the COVID-19 spread and the Yuletide season, if you like, the festive season. And really, we still have to go back to those traditional, ways of protecting ourselves against the virus. And those are the non-pharmaceutical injections. That is washing our hands regularly, sanitizing our hands, covering our face with face masks, and maintaining social distance. If you don't really need to go out, there's no need. Just stay where you are and ensure that you safeguard yourself. Well, tomorrow definitely will be another date and time, so let's make it. See you tomorrow, bright and early.